Hey everyone, welcome back to another tanning trials video on my channel. So for this week's review, we're going to be testing out the new Bali Body Clear Self-Tanning Mousse. For those of you who are regular viewers, you probably are like, where are you right now? I'm actually in my bedroom because I can't film in my office. Long story short, it gets really hot in there and I can't open the windows because I have hay fever. I feel like this year the hay fever has come a bit early. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but anyway, in this video, we're going to be talking about my experience testing out this bad boy. So I've actually used this twice now, so I could really get a good feel of how the product works. Also as well, I have a little bit of a tanning tip that I found just whilst I was doing this video, so hopefully it will help you guys as much as it helped me. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn your notifications on to be told every time I post. I don't know why I keep singing because I can't. And also follow me on my socials, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, just so you can really keep up to date with what I'm doing. And less talking, let's get on with the video. So starting out, this is the Bali Body Clear Self-Tanning Mousse. I have actually done a review on the Bali Body products before. I will link it above if you haven't seen it. That is just the normal tanning mousse and also the facial tanning water. Make sure to either watch that video before you watch this one if you're interested, or wait till after. I don't mind, I'll put it in the description if you want to watch it. So I picked up the shade light for some bizarre reason. I never do that. Normally I would hit like a medium or a dark depending on what my base skin layer is like. But for some reason today I went with light. I just thought worst comes to worst, I can just do 2 layers because they say sometimes with tans that once you apply the initial guide layer that you can go in like 30 minutes later and just apply a second layer. I'll put on the screen some clips of what my skin looked like as I started out. As usual, I have already exfoliated, shaved and moisturized the dry patches on my skin as well as just generally like the rest of my body, because like I said, I've already done a review of Bali Body. I had one of their mitts, so I just paired that with the mousse. When I was squirting the mousse out onto the mitt, it was very light compared to the normal mousses. Usually the mousses which have the guide layer tend to be a lot more thick and kind of like whipped in consistency, whereas this was a lot more light and foamy, and the scent kind of went with that as well. Felt a lot lighter than the other one. It may not actually have been, in just in my head, like that was what it felt like. Obviously with clear tans it's kind of a bit more of a risky situation in my opinion. Even though I have been tanning for quite a while now, I still find it difficult with the clear tans to like know where I've put it versus where I haven't. I just kind of use the light in the room to see what reflected and like what didn't. Like I've said with any clear tans that I've ever used, if you are a beginner when it comes to tan, I would maybe sway away from the clear tan just purely because it is a lot more difficult for you to see where you've put it, and there's nothing worse than when you're starting out and you're making mistakes already. You don't want that extra difficulty on top of already like soft. It's hard, like when you start, it is hard. Well, it was for me anyway. Some of you guys might be natural tanners, like born to tan. Either way, the tan applied really nicely, the application was easy, the actual formula of the product felt really nice and light on my skin, kind of like if you were to use just like a standard moisturizer rather than like a body butter. That would be the consistency that I would compare it to. Once I'd applied that all to my body, this is the thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, I'm super excited. So this probably doesn't sound like anything new if you already buy them, but I found that sometimes with the tanning products, I don't always have the facial tanner to go with it. If you know me, you know that usually I won't apply like fake tan to my face that comes in the bottle, just because my pores clog so easily and my face is very susceptible to that, like especially around my nose and on my chin. It's just the worst situation because my pores are so like big. However, for some reason my little brain had this idea that because the product was so light, I decided in my little brain that I was going to pour some of this product into an empty spray bottle that I had. So I did that. One thing that I will say is don't shake it, because when you spray it, it didn't spray like it would normally do and how I expected. It sprayed in like splatters and went directly into my eyes, so don't shake it first, just spray it, okay? But I sprayed the product all over my face, like misted it. I did a couple of layers on my cheeks, did a light layer on the midsection of my face because that's obviously where I get the most clogged pores. If there was any kind of like dripping of product on my skin, I just either patted it in with the mitt or I used a brush that I had just to kind of like buff it into my skin. I always find using mitts to apply tan to my face a little bit risky. When it has a guide layer, it's slightly easier to kind of buff out any areas that have more product or like not enough, whereas when you're using a clear tan, it's kind of like just spray and pray. So yeah, that's why I decided to buff it in a little bit with a brush, just to make sure that I really kind of like got it in all the areas that I wanted it to, and kind of brushed away some of the excess product that was in places I didn't want it to be. So I applied this to my body in the evening and let it sit overnight. They do recommend that you leave this from 2 to 6 hours to develop. I did actually go in and use a second layer of tan 30 minutes after the first application, just because my dumbass decided to pick up light instead of medium. Because I haven't used this product before, I didn't know how deeply it developed, so I didn't want to apply the product and be disappointed. So yeah, second layer 30 minutes later. As you can see, I do have great little one. But yes, I do have grey bedding as well as like a pink sheet underneath. Just completely ruined my setup there to prove to you that I'm not a liar. So yeah, grey duvet cover, pink sheets. I also just wore some like loose fitting like silky pajamas. One of the things that I will say in the favour of clear tans is that if you are someone that hates getting tan on your sheets, your clothes, like the surrounding things, these kinds of products might be better suited to you because you get zero transfer because it's clear. I'm not gonna lie to you though, there was kind of like a lingering smell on my clothes and on my bedding and my body when I actually went to rinse it off. It didn't last very long, and I'm usually a person that if I fake tan, the day after is usually the day I wash my bedding anyway, so like that doesn't bother me. Rinsed off in the shower, and obviously you couldn't see anything because it's clear tan. I woke up and my skin felt like a little bit tacky, but not in the way of like, oh, my tan hasn't dried. It was more that my skin felt nice and hydrated. So yeah, moisturised after, went on with my day, and did feel like a slight smell to my skin, but nothing where I was like, oh my god, I stink of biscuit. It wasn't like that. It was just a bit like, this isn't my normal body smell. But I just sprayed perfume onto my clothes and it was fine. Don't spray it onto your body because it can sometimes like remove the tan in patches where you spray it. Depends on what kind of perfume you use. So I'll pop on the screen now what my skin looked like after I tanned. I have to say I was quite happy with the results, considering this was a light shade of tan rather than my normal like medium to dark. It did really give like quite noticeable results in my opinion. The only thing I will say is even though it wasn't really bad, I noticed that it did cling to some of the drier patches on my body. So for example, my fingers look a lot darker than this part of my hand. I can't remember what this is called. My fingers are drier because the skin is thinner and I'm sanitizing my hands all the time, so I noticed clung to this bit of me. Everywhere else literally fine. The pores on my skin were not clogged at all. The tan came out looking really even, streak free. Like I said, the coverage was really good. I'm so happy that I did the 2 layers instead of 1. I think it would have still been great with the 1. So yeah, that was all a thumbs up from me. Going back to when I actually applied it to my face, you'll see from the clips that it actually came out quite good. It did kind of, like I said, cling to some of the dry patches on my face, so around my nostrils at the moment, because I'm blowing my nose so much because hashtag hay fever, it clung a little bit around my nose. On my chin it tends to, just because that bit is dry, and like my little moustachy area. Other than that, the rest of my face was absolutely fine. Like I said, I've used this product twice now. For the first week I just wanted to see for my initial kind of like first impressions, and the second week I tried it after I was used to it just to see how long it actually wear for. Either way, I've used this product over the last 2 weeks just so I could really see how well I got on with it. Obviously, like I mentioned, it clung to the drier patches on my hands. I use a lot of hand sanitizer because of my job, so even though I was doing that and it started to wear away, it still wore away very evenly, which I was happy about. One thing that I did do was there was a day where I had to sanitize my hands more than normal and the tan just like disappeared. I had that spray bottle still that I used to apply the tan to my face. I just spritzed it on my hands and left it overnight, and it just kind of like topped it up because there wasn't any product left. It didn't kind of like go patchy or anything on my hands, so I was kind of like, oh my god, life hack. That idea in itself actually didn't come from me though. I think somebody left in my comments saying spray it on your hands, it kind of like helps top up your hand tan, so I can't take credit for that. On the rest of my body it wore away quite evenly. The only thing that I would say is make sure you keep your skin hydrated, because I'm very much a person that forgets to like moisturize and put lotion over their whole body, and my body all over is very itchy. I don't know if anybody else gets that, but I just have to scratch a lot, and unfortunately on some patches on my legs and on my arms the tan, it did kind of come away, just because 1, my skin was dry, and 2, because I was aggressively scratching it, which is not the product's fault. The moisturizing, depending on what your skin's like, some people can get away with not. I'm not one of those people. So in summary, I liked this product. It was nice and buildable because I like I said, was a numpty and bought the wrong shade. Probably wouldn't recommend this to a beginner, just because I wouldn't recommend any clear tan to any beginner, because I find it difficult now, and I've been tanning for like nearly 2 years, which is wild to think about, but it is true. Doesn't transfer on your sheets. Product was light enough as well to transfer into a spray bottle and spray onto your face, so you don't have to purchase the tanning water. Price point as well for this product is kind of like middle ground. I'll leave obviously the link in the description as I would normally do for anybody that wants to try this. And yeah, I think I would rate this tan probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So that is it for this week's video, guys, testing out the Bali Body Clear Self-Tanning Mousse. If you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a big thumbs up so I know. It really does help me out a lot. I'll also leave links in the description to this product as well as to my socials, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok, all of those, just so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos like this and turn your notifications on to be told every time I post. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay safe, stay indoors as much as possible, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye!